Hello, everybody. It is Miss Garavelli. I am in a meeting just downstairs on the first floor, meeting with all the new fifth graders who are going to be sixth graders, or all the fifth graders who are going to be new sixth graders. So I just wanted to go over this book 5 with you. We will talk about it together, but it is very important that you listen to this video. I know you're probably looking at the screen right now and you're thinking, Miss Garavelli, that there's so many notes on the screen right now. So what you can do, if you would like, I'm going to zoom this out. You can go ahead and copy down the notes if you would like on the top part of the page. And then you can listen to me talk about it. So you can pause it, and I'll move it down so you can see this as well. You can pause it, and you can write your notes down, and then press play and listen to me talk about it, okay? So if I can do the notes, you can do the notes. Again, it's a lot of information because it's a lot of information to go over, okay? So I'm going to read through it with you and talk to you about it. All right, so book 5 is Calypso, the Sweet Nymph. So we got to remember, okay, Odysseus, he is our epic hero. He is traveling from Troy, trying to get back home to Ithaca, where all this crazy stuff is going down. Everybody's trying to marry his wife. They're trying to kill his son. Trojan War lasted 10 years, and then we know that it took him 10 more years to get home. Okay, so 7 of those 10 years, he was actually trapped on Calypso's island, who this book is about, Calypso. So if you look right here, the first note that I want you to notice, it says 10 years equals Trojan War, 10 years equals getting back home, and then 7 out of 10 years he was on Ogygia, okay? And then right here I wrote 20 years total he was gone from home, okay? So out of the 10 years that he was traveling, he spent 7 of them on Ogygia. Now right here, I want you to ignore where it says Ogygia was his 12th stop, because according to our map, I can't remember, so I don't have it in front of me, Ogygia he had one more stop after Ogygia before he made it back home to Ithaca. So I'm pretty sure we said that Ithaca on our map was our 16th stop, so then his 15th stop, so Ogygia would technically be his 14th stop according to our map. So we'll go over that in more detail tomorrow. So remember, not told in chronological order, so this is not the second thing that happened to him. This is almost the last place that he was before Ithaca, but he was just here for a long time, for 7 years. Okay, so the next thing I want us to talk about before we even read is what in the world a nymph is and who Calypso is. So if you look right here, the next note I want you to write down is Calypso. So here's who she is. She's a nymph. A nymph is a minor goddess of nature. Nymphs had to take orders from the gods. Calypso was beautiful, and she was in love with Odysseus, okay? So more information about a nymph. A nymph is a minor nature goddess. They're ranked below the gods, and research even says that they're not necessarily immortal, but they lived much longer than humans, okay? So I think maybe some of them were immortal, some of them were not, but they were, like if you think about a ranking scale, you have your gods and your goddesses, and then nymphs were below them, okay? So they were still not humans, but they were not considered gods. So Calypso lived on this island by herself. She was beautiful. Odysseus washed up on her island again after, I think Poseidon, he had another shipwreck and he ended up there. So she was like, oh my gosh, he's this epic hero. He's very handsome, he's strong, and she's been by herself on this island. So she falls in love with him, and she wants him to stay there. But he wants to get back home to Penelope and Telemachus in Ithaca, so he does not agree to stay there. But the problem is that he can't get off of her island. He has to stay there. He has no way of getting home because he doesn't have a boat. He doesn't have any help, so he's just there, okay? So let's see, so you wrote down the years right here, write down who Calypso is. Okay, so now let's just start reading. So right here, this part, you can look at your paper and follow along. It says, for 7 of the 10 years Odysseus has spent wandering the Mediterranean Sea, he has been held captive by the goddess Calypso on her island. As book 5 begins, Zeus sends the god Hermes to tell Calypso to release Odysseus. However, she is only to help him build a raft. He must sail for 20 days before landing on the island of Scheria, where he will be helped in his effort to return home. Okay, a lot going on here. So first thing, I want you to circle where it says 7 and then 10. So for 7 of the 10 years that he was wandering the sea, he was on Calypso's island. I want you to circle Calypso's name, because that's the nymph that captured him. And then it says, as book 5 begins, Zeus sends the god Hermes to tell Calypso to release Odysseus. So remember when we read in book 1, Athena wants Odysseus to get home. So she's like, Dad, can we please help him get home? So Zeus says yes. So one thing that he does, he says, Hermes, who's the messenger god, I want you to go to Aegea, which is Calypso's island, and I want you to tell Calypso that she has to let Odysseus go. But as you can see right here, the only thing that she can do is she can help him build a raft. So she's going to give him the materials and help to build a raft to get home. He still has to sail for 20 days before he gets to this island called Scheria. So if you look right here, circle it, and then I wrote it's the last stop before he gets back home to Ithaca. So Scheria is where he ends up right before he gets back home. Okay? So this is kind of a summary of what happened. So now let's read it. No words were lost on Hermes, the wayfinder, who bent to tie his beautiful sandals on, ambrosial golden that carry him over water or over endless land in a swish of the wind, and took the wand with which he charms asleep, or when he wills awake the eyes of men. So wand in hand, he paced into the air, shot from Pieria down to sea level, and veered to skim the swell. A gull patrolling between the wave crest of the desolate sea will dip to catch a fish and douse his wings. No higher above the whitecaps Hermes flew until the distant island lay ahead. Then rising shoreward from the violent ocean, he stepped up to the cave. Okay, so I put a box around this and stopped right here because I want to talk about this first. So right here, I circled the word wayfinder and drew an arrow to Hermes, okay? So Hermes is called the wayfinder, and then look right here, I put a box around who Hermes is. Hermes is the messenger of the gods, also known for his cleverness and trickery. So here's some more things about Hermes I want you to write down. Hermes, his special skill is speed. He's known as a messenger god. He's known as being a cunning trickster. He's one of the 12 Olympians who lived on Mount Olympus. And also he could move between realms, so meaning like he could go to the underworld as well. All of this right here, I just put an arrow describing Hermes. So this is just describing him. He's known for his golden sandals that help him fly. This right here is just describing Hermes flying to Aegea. Okay, all this is just him going to Aegea. Right here, I want you to, I didn't do this, circle the word Pieria, and then put a box right here, draw an arrow. So Pieria is just an area next to Mount Olympus, home of the gods. So it just says, so wand in hand, he paced into the air, shot from Pieria down. So remember, he lives on Mount Olympus, so he's leaving Mount Olympus and he is going to Aegea to tell Calypso, hey girl, you got to let Odysseus free. Like he needs to get back home, okay? Then we're going to read right here about Calypso. Divine Calypso, the mistress of the isle, was now at home. Upon her hearthstone, a great fire blazing scented the farthest shores with cedar smoke, and smoke of thyme, and singing high and low in her sweet voice. Before her loom a-weaving, she passed her golden shuttle to and fro. Okay, so this Calypso lives in a cave, okay? And this is just description of the inside of her cave. So where it says singing high and low, so what she's doing when Hermes arrives is she is singing. And so right here I wrote, what is she doing when Hermes arrives? Singing, and she's weaving. So when it says right here, her shuttle, before her loom weaving, she passed her golden shuttle to and fro. So she is, I don't know if I wrote this down, but she is able to weave things into gold. Again, one of the things that she can do. So now let's talk about the outside of her cave. A deep wood grew outside with summer leaves of alder and black poplar, pungent cypress. Ornate birds here rested their stretched wings, horned owls, falcons, cormorants, long-tongued beach-combing birds, and followers of the sea. Around the smooth-walled cave, a crooking vine held purple clusters under plive green, and 4 springs, bubbling up near one another, shallow and clear, took channels here and there through beds of violets and tender parsley. So this is a description of the outside of her cave. It was very beautiful. Okay, so just picture like just greenery, plants, and right here I circle, it says purple clusters. So those are grapes. So she has grapes growing outside as well. Okay, so again, all that's happened, Hermes is traveling to Aegea. This is talking about where she lives and what she's doing. She's weaving and singing, and this is the description of the outside of her cave. Okay, we're going to go to the next page. Even a god who found this place would gaze and feel his heart's beat with delight. So Hermes did. But when he had gazed his fill, he entered the wide cave. Now face to face, the magical Calypso recognized him, as all immortal gods know one another on sight, though seeming strangers far from home. But he saw nothing of the great Odysseus, who sat apart as 1,000 times before, and racked his own heart groaning, with eyes were scanning the bare horizons of the sea. Okay, so lots of things happening here in this part. We're going to stop today. So underline or highlight this part. So what this means, that like Hermes is a god, and he has seen, if he's a god who lives on Mount Olympus, like he has seen so many beautiful things. So this is saying even Hermes, a god that saw beautiful things all the time, had to stop and stare at the beauty of the island. Okay, so it was that beautiful. And then right here it says that he saw Calypso, so they recognize each other, because again, I think nymphs still had to go to like meetings on Mount Olympus because they had to take orders from the gods, so they knew who they were. So then this is saying that Calypso is in the cave, but Odysseus was not. So Hermes gets there, he sees the beautiful Calypso, but does not see Odysseus. So right here it says, I want you to underline or highlight this, but he saw nothing of the great Odysseus, who sat apart as 1,000 times before, and racked his own heart groaning, with eyes wet, scanning the bare horizon of the sea. And then circle this. This means that Odysseus is crying. So let's think about why Odysseus would be crying. Well, he has a family at home that he wants to get back to. And y'all, he's been trying to get home for like a bajillion years. 10, but he's been trapped on this island for 7. So this is the first time that we see a softer side of Odysseus. He's crying because he wants to go home to Ithaca to be with his family. So we know him as being the epic hero, which is like this big, strong guy. And so this is just showing like his human side. Like he wants to be home with his family. He's crying because he doesn't want to be there with Calypso. Okay, so we're gonna stop here today. So make sure that you have notes all the way until this italicized part. So right here to the part about be with his family. Okay, and we will talk more about this tomorrow.